In the early fall of 1997, I crossed my champion dog, the AZRA dog that held the title of ROM, with Champion BELI, of the Bijeljina Boys, who was a dog, who was part of one of the largest litters, who were born here. She was the litter sister of the Grand Champion dog, the famous CRNOOKI, a Pitbull who was a 5-time winner in a fight. BELI was also the sister of the dog who was a fighting champion, the famous BELA, a dog who was a 3-time combat winner. She was also the sister of SARENKO, who was also a dog winner of 2 fights. And the dog SIVI, who had a tie, and who was titled ROM. He was from Bijeljina Boys. AZRA was also part of other litters, which were really successful, and they were born here. Unfortunately, this creation was unsuccessful, so I called the Bijeljina Boys and told him that I wouldn't want my money back, but instead I would try again to cross it, with Champion AZRA ROM, in her next cycle. They agreed, so when the day came, I did it. But this time, I chose to cross the dog AZRA, in the great champion CRNOOKI. The creation was a total outcross, but I didn't look much at the pedigree, I looked at the performance. Whenever I crossed, I was looking for Pit's performance, that they were really good. I would especially notice if they were from some exceptional litter, or if it was from a lineage, that it was proven in the ring. This time, I was lucky, a litter of 8 puppies was born. It was June 13, 1998, and it happened in my backyard. I had 4 puppies for myself, but there was a black woman with white spots, which was my choice in this litter. I called her Bloody Mary. Mary liked to fight. She started not to tolerate her siblings. At 3 months old, she had perfect motor skills. She was an extremely noisy dog. She was hyperactive. Mary could run and bark all day. Mary's training started very early, and she showed that it was a great choice. She showed a lot of lung, great talent, a hard mouth and a lot of speed. During their training fights, opponents did not last long. She was too fast for them. Usually, after the pressure of Mary, they stopped fighting, before completing 20 minutes of confrontation. When she was 20 months old, I tested her with 4 females. Yes, you heard it right, with 4 females. Each fought for 10 minutes against Mary. She was better against the first 2, and even with the last 2 opponents. Mary didn't have her back once. She was ready to be combined into an official fight. At that time, the Come On Kennels of Italy was very interested in Bloody Mary. They saw her in a fight test, and they wanted to buy her. That wasn't an option for me, because I had big plans for Mary's career. She was also a breeding dog. But they were persistent. They waited a few months, until I needed some money. Come On came to my house. I said I wouldn't sell Mary before I took puppies from her. He said, no problem, you can keep her puppies, but I mark her fight. He offered a very large amount of money for her. So Bloody Mary was sold. The Come On Kennels scored a fight for Mary as soon as he returned home. His first opponent was Scream Kennels' dog, Meji, a daughter of Lakeman's dog, Champion GUS, with Naynod's female, the 2-time combat-winning dog Tina, with a defeat. She is the litter sister of my champion dog AZRA ROM. The weight marked for the fight was 16.5 kilos. Mary came out ahead in the fight, and Meji was taken out of the fight at 22 minutes of fighting. A few months after the first fight, the dog Bloody Mary had her second fight scheduled. This was against the dog Lametta of Sikosi Kennels, who was the daughter of the dog DOC with the dog Margot. The fight was marked in the weight category of 17 kilos. Lametta had no chance. Bloody Mary hit her from the beginning, and Lametta gave up the fight in its first scratch at the 27-minute mark, so Bloody Mary became a 2-fight winner. After the fight, Come On Kennels returned to Bloody Mary. He took her to my backyard, for me to cross paths with my Rios, as we had commented. Rios was also a 2-fighting dog at that time. The creation was unsuccessful, and I returned Mary to fight again. One day I got a call, it was from Brian Du Sud America Kennels. He said he had just bought Bloody Mary. I was surprised, and asked what happened. He told me that Come On Kennels had problems with the law, so he stopped the dogs. Brian already had 2 dogs that were litter brothers, the dog Bloody Mary. One was a breeding dog, she was called Vicky, the other was a male with a lot of gameness, called CRNOOKI JR. He said that the CRNOOKI JR was the best fighting dog he had ever seen. Brian scored a fight with Mary. Mary would make their 3rd fight, so that they could win the title of champion. He traveled to southern Italy to meet the dog Nina, a dog who was the winner of a fight from Lord Corrado. Corrado was one of the veterans from their Italy, Nina was imported from the USA. Nina was of the famous lineage of the great champion Yellow Rum. The fight was marked in the weight category of 16 kilos. It was a war. Nina was biting Mary's head, so trying to keep her away. She was doing a good job, even at the 15-minute mark of the fight, so when Mary increased the pace in the slaughter, Nina couldn't keep up. Mary was stronger, and she could also bite brighter. Nina has been overcome. Mary worked with strong bites in the chest and shoulder region. Corrado took her out of the fight in the 37th minute. Nina made a scratch of a dead game because it died the next day. Bloody Mary became a champion, she was with a reputation for being a hard-mouthed dog. A while after that, Brian had some problems, he sold all the dogs, including champion Bloody Mary. The new owner of Mary, it was Spoken Pit, he was from southern Italy. He had seen Mary's last fight, so he wanted to put her to fight again. He marked his 4th fight against Nikita, a once combat-winning dog, from Mr. Pepe. Nikita was the sister of Zico Jr., Kazina Kennels. The Spoken Pit was known to have lost many fights. He always brought his dogs in poor shape, and he also did it with Mary. She was weak, and looked very tired. Nikita, a very good female, she caused a lot of damage to Mary. She bit hard on her chest and hind legs. Mary bit in the head of Nikita, trying to do something. Finally Nikita slowed down, so Mary started biting Nikita's shoulder hard, it was time for revenge. Mary started beating Nikita, a scratch was done, and the two went back to the fight. At 38 minutes of combat, Nikita was withdrawn from the fight. She did another scratch, and proved her gameness, but died soon after. Champion Bloody Mary became a 4-fighting winning dog. After this fight, I called Spoken Pit, made the proposal to buy it again. At first he wasn't interested, but after a few weeks, he agreed and Bloody Mary returned to Croatia from my backyard again. She was 5 years old at the time, in her first heat I crossed paths with my champion dog, the famous Billy too. Unfortunately, she did not have puppies. So I started looking for an opponent, to mark his 5th fight. My intentions were to find the best possible opponent. At that time, I called everyone who had a winning dog in the Mary weight category. I called Psycho Kennels, asked him about champion Sheila, she was a dog, who had won 3 fights. Sheila was from Serbia, she was the sister of a famous dog, the champion Black MUP of Tosk. But Sheila had puppies. After a while I called Mate, with the dog Gara, she who was a woman who won 2 fights. The Gara was the woman who would fight a Mary sister, Nirvana. We closed the deal, but believe it or not, Gara died during training. After a long time, I was almost giving up, being able to score a fight, so I could win the title of Great Champion. When then Hazard Kennels accepted our challenge. The fight was set at 17.5 kilos. Mary wasn't so young anymore, and I didn't want to lower her weight too much. The date was March 12, 2005. Mary was exactly 6 years and 9 months old. She was without 2 fangs of her mouth. Hazard Kennels had a woman named Pepika, she was a 2-win dog OTC, from Jadinko's Gizma. Both females were experienced, bitches of 4 victories in combat. We were looking forward to a great show. Champion Bloody Mary was going to win her title as Great Champion. Bloody Mary was known for being a finishing dog with a hard mouth. Pepika was known for having a hard mouth and being a great biter of face and nose. The two females never passed the 40-minute mark of fighting. Bloody Mary was in great condition and I was calm. The fight began furiously. Pepika bit in the nose and snout. Mary bit in her chest. There was a lot of blood everywhere. After a few minutes, AMB started working at a fast pace, both of whom knew what they were doing. Pepika worked on her face and shoulders, Mary went deep into her chest and throat. At the 16-minute mark, Pepika hit an art, and was bleeding a lot in Mary's front leg. The blood was gushing 2 to 3 feet in front of Mary. I was shocked, I couldn't believe it was happening that way. Well, during that time, Mary was in a better position. His breathing was much better than Pepika, which was already breathing with difficulty. I waited 2 minutes to see if the blood would stop, but it didn't stop. So I was forced to take Mary out of the ring at 20 minutes and stop the bleeding. Mary did its complimentary scratch, it ran like a rocket. We took care of the bleeding and 5 minutes later, she was ready to fight again. But the chance to win the Grand Champion title was already lost. That night was bad luck, but Champion Bloody Mary was well and alive. If I hadn't stopped in that fight, she probably would have lost a lot of blood, got weak, and died. That way, this tremendous dog was still with me, with whom she belonged. Champion Bloody Mary was retired in the backyard of my friends from Italy, where she lived a life of luxury as she deserved it. The end result of this cross of Grand Champion CRNOOKI with Champion AZRA ROM was the champion dog Bloody Mary, with 4 victories and 1 defeat, Nirvana with 1 victory in CRNOOKI JR, with a defeat proving gameness, with her game dead. I was right all the time, believing that winners would produce winners anyway, or at least respectable losers of deep play.